When I first started doing sales, I had a manager who to this day is one of the best salespeople that I've ever worked with. And I've worked with hundreds of salespeople. This guy, I don't think he watches my videos, but we are still kind of friends. Sorry, I just have to change this. Anyway, his name was Michael, or Michael. He's from Israel, and he's a very good looking guy. He had these like big green eyes. And when you looked at him, he just kind of had this very hypnotizing look. And he had this big smile on his face all the time, and this guy was the biggest snake I've ever met in my life. Right? This guy, he had no conscience at all. He would sell anything to anybody. He would max out their credit cards. He would take every last dollar from them. He did not care at all. I really admired Michael, or Michael, because he had qualities that I did not have at that time. I still don't really have those. I really liked how he was able to so he didn't feel guilty at all from taking from these people. And I really wish that I had that, because at the time I saw that was kind of necessary to be good at sales. That was kind of like an intermediate thought that I had of mine. It's still technically a little bit true, but when you get a little bit better, I would say, or at least in my progression, I realized that the more fun you make the people have, the more happily they'll buy from you. And they had fun when they were buying from Michael too, don't get me wrong. Like, these women loved him. They would come back and they would do anything for him. Never had one single complaint at the mall either. So anyway, I worked with Michael, and I really looked up to him as a manager because he was just, it was like watching magic happen. And one day I asked him, I was like, how do you do it? What's your secret? And he had a lot of secrets, obviously every salesperson does. But one of the things that he said to me that still stuck in my mind to this day is that he's like, listen, when I talk to a customer, anytime I stop a customer, if I see that they have potential, I look at my watch and I make a mental note to set my watch for 30 minutes. And I say to myself that I'm going to talk to this customer for 30 minutes no matter what. And I'm going to try and get them to buy something for this entire time. Because a lot of the times what happens in sales, and really any area of your life where you're trying to achieve a certain outcome, is that we start out, we're very motivated, and then at some point you don't see results as quickly as you want, so you quit and you give up and you move on to the next thing, or you pursue some sort of momentary distraction so that you don't think about how you quote unquote failed. But in reality, what I inferred from what Michael told me is that you really just have your timeline set too narrowly, right? Your timeline is too small. You haven't set your watch, so to speak. So I think this is worth talking about, really, honestly, with any area that you're trying to make progress in. And obviously we all have certain areas where we would like to improve. I guess probably people who watch this, it's like fitness is the whole thing, right? And this is one of the reasons why fasting is so good, is because with working out, it's going to take time for you to see results. And most people, especially if they're lazy and they're fat and they're out of shape and they're not conditioned to have the habit of actually exercising and working out, they're not used to, no offense, any overweight people, and it's not true across the board for everybody in every situation, but in general, people who are out of shape and overweight are usually lazy, at least physically lazy, and that means that they're not really willing to work for those things, or it doesn't seem worth it to them to work for it for whatever reason. So when you fast, it's really good because you lose a lot of weight very quickly. So it's very motivating to keep losing that weight. Now, if we take that same analogy and we map it over to, like, let's say work or making money or something like that. If you start out, like I notice this a lot. If any of you were like me in the past and you started a project because you were really motivated about it, and you were motivated about it for like 2 days, and then you started it and then you worked really hard on it, and then a couple days later you saw that, like, okay, this blog that you were going to start, or this niche Instagram account that you were starting, or YouTube channel was not kicking off as rapidly as you thought. Like, you didn't reach 1 million subscribers in your third video, and you're like, like, I realize this is actually gonna be a lot more work than I thought, so I'm gonna go play video games or something. Fun fact, when I restarted this YouTube channel, I knew that it was going to be a lot of work. And sure, we see people like Snake Diet Guy or Greg Doucette that blow up very quickly, right? These guys, like, they start out and okay, maybe they make a little bit of progress, and then all of a sudden it's like they're all over the place and they get really popular really quickly. And in the back of my mind, I kind of hoped for that. Like, we all, I think, kind of hope for miraculous results very quickly. But what I really thought starting out, I was like, listen, even if it takes me 10 years to turn this into something that I can do full time, it's still going to be worth it in my mind. That's just what I thought about the whole, I guess, like, I don't know, you're not really a movie star if you're a YouTuber, but you are a known face and a recognized person. And whatever, it's like I still have a long time to go, but because I've extended my timeline and I've set my watch, so to speak, like Mikhail would say, I don't really feel, upset that I don't have 100,000 subscribers yet. Obviously, I'm sure there's things that I could do to make my progress go faster. But, currently with the way my life is, I'm happy kind of just doing this in the background and getting a little bit experience as I go. If I had more time, I would put more effort into my videos, but I don't, so I don't. Anyway, that's my little tip of the day. What do you guys think about that? What is an area where you potentially need to extend your timeline? Give yourself a little bit more patience to get the result that you want. Let me know. Leave me a comment. Peace.